Here we go. Here's the sit down, ladies and gentlemen. Now get ready. 1 week from Sunday, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, man. All in London. Now get ready, man. Look at 1 p.m. Y'all know your boy gonna be recording.
Gentlemen, let's take things back to the very beginning. December 12th, 2015, PWG, your guys' first time meeting. What was your guys' first impressions of each other?
I mean, I was a New Japan fan. Of course, I know everything that Kenny was doing. I'm a big Kenny Omega fan back then as well. I admired his stuff in PWG, admired his stuff in DDT. So it was a real honor, but yeah, I was definitely out of my depth at that point. I mean, I was a skinny kid. I was just trying to make a name for myself, and I just wanted to try and make an impression, to be honest with you. That's the main thing that I tried to get out of that.
I mean, I try to keep my finger in the pulse. I try to educate myself, and I try to understand who the flavors of the month are, who the internet darlings are, and Will's name had been turning up quite often. So I was excited myself to face Will Ospreay at PWG. Was I blown away? Not at that time, but I could see the potential.
Okay. Well, let's fast forward 7 years. AEW has come into existence. Will, you have followed Kenny's path to New Japan. The wars had begun amongst the Elite, Chaos, United Empire. But then, Kenny, you returned to New Japan to face Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 17. What had changed in Will at that point?
Yeah, he was a complete different athlete. I mean, he went from being, like he had said himself, just a skinny kid to becoming the face of New Japan. He had essentially filled my shoes in my absence. So a lot of people looked at it as, oh, this is Kenny Omega coming back to see if he can defeat the new face of New Japan, the new best gaijin. But to me, it wasn't really that. And if you ask the company themselves, it wasn't really that. This was out of necessity. This is the Tokyo Dome we're talking about. Wrestle Kingdom, biggest show of the year. They needed to sell tickets. They needed buy rates. They needed people to have something to be hype over. And unfortunately for Will Ospreay on his name alone doesn't do that. Kenny Omega's does.
I mean, Kenny talks about breaking records and smashing attendances. I mean, that's all well and good when you're building a company off of the broken back of guys like Tanahashi and Naito and Okada. And I'm not saying you didn't do your part, man. You smashed it. You was the man. But you never worked under the restrictions that I worked under, because your version of COVID and my version of COVID were two completely different things. The company went into nearly a recession. People were pulling funds. The boys had to take pay cuts. You, when you're doing your COVID, you probably did 3-hour drives. I had to do 15-hour flights. And then after those flights, I had to be put in hotels no bigger than a broom closet for 2 weeks, not allowed to go outside. And then when I was allowed to go outside, you were performing to people in forced silence. There's a difference between me and you there, because you could never handle that type of pressure. You could never be in those type of situations. You were fine playing to all of the AEW guys and wrestling to all of the guys that are just around the ring. They're all marks for Kenny Omega, man. That's an easy day at the job. But for me, it was difficult. Half the roster was starving, man. Our hands were shackled together, yet somehow I and the United Empire and everyone on that roster were able to breathe life into New Japan Pro Wrestling. So please do not give me any of that attendance, any of that, because the reality is, you could never handle that situation. You can never be in those situations.
You make it sound like your situation was so unique, Will. We had the exact same situation here in America. Yes, I took the 3-hour drive. So what? But the fact of the matter is, we didn't have fans in our arenas either. And the fact of the matter...
Gone back a lot quicker than we did.
And the fact of the matter is, Will, even if you had fans in the building, would they really have been that loud for you?
Okay, let me just interject here. Let's move forward 5 months past that to Forbidden Door 2023. Will has joined the Don Callis family.
Yeah. Look, everybody knows by now my history with Don Callis and the Don Callis family. When Don promised me gold, when he promised me success, and I started to see AEW Championship gold, IWGP Championship gold, TNA Championship gold, AAA Championship gold, I had no reason but to believe he had my best interest in mind, until I finally saw it for what it was really worth. And then I could become a cautionary tale for guys like Will, who I had grown to respect, who I had then found a common bond between myself and Will, who had been through similar situations, except he didn't have to make the same mistakes that I did. But of course, Will Ospreay knows better than me, right? And he just had to go and recruit Don Callis for the match that was the rematch at Forbidden Door.
You embarrassed me. You came into New Japan and you tore apart my life in front of so many people that I worked so hard in front of, man. It was 80% you and it was 20% me, and I know that. You showed me no mercy, you showed no remorse for any of that. I still have scars on my head from when you DDT'd me into the top corner, mate.
And how is that so much more different from when you went into my backyard and disrespected my country, my homeland, when you disrespected me?
You deserved it.
Oh.
You say that now, Will, but I don't think you're so proud of that victory, because if you really go back and you look at the history books, did I use Don Callis in that match at the Tokyo Dome?
No.
No, I didn't use Don Callis. But you had no qualms about using Don Callis in our match at Forbidden Door.
It keeps me up at night, mate.
Ooh,
You realize how
here
much
we
that
go.
keeps me up? 3 years has gone by, and I still think about that night. That was meant to be one of the happiest moments of my life. I climbed the mountain that was Kenny Omega. And instead, everyone online, everyone, is saying, oh, he didn't do it by himself though, did he? It was all Don Callis. So that victory meant nothing.
It was tainted, Will, but you know what? Here's the best part. Hearing you say that right now, it allows me to tell you, right here, right now, I forgive you. I don't hold it against you. Because hearing right from your mouth that you couldn't have done it without Don, that you couldn't have done it without a screwdriver, it's like music to my ears. It makes it feel like it's not 1-1. It makes it feel like I beat you twice already, and this isn't a rubber match after all.
Wow.
This is just you desperately searching to find any way
in his head.
to be on my level.
All right,
Ooh,
guys,
be in his
let's
head.
get to all in. I mean, you guys have both had life-threatening injuries this past year. I mean, Kenny, with your diverticulitis.
Yes. If it isn't you talking about the diverticulitis, it's Excalibur, or it's Taz, or it's Don Callis. I get it. My life changed. Things got complicated. I can't train the way that I used to. I can't move the way that I used to. I can't eat the way that I used to. But that forced a change upon me that made me a better wrestler. It made me a better person, because I had to stop using this and I had to start using this. I'm smarter now for it. But what about you, Will? Can you say you're a better wrestler now after breaking your neck? Can you say you're 100% comfortable in your own skin, knowing that you had a surgically repaired disc in your neck? Wait, discs? 3, am I right? 3 discs in your neck? You feel confident after coming back from that, challenging me, who's arguably at the best and on top of his game more than I've ever been? Wow. I'll hand it to you, Will. You got quite the confidence on you, quite the chip on your shoulder.
You know what, Ken? Hearing how much my words cut you deep when I said, it's a shame you're giving up on yourself. I couldn't help but think about that. Because when I talked to you at Dynasty and I gassed you up and I said you were my hero, you hid at home for 4 weeks. And then the next pay-per-view, I said don't give up on that world title, and you hid at home for 4 more weeks. It's funny that the moment I tell you that you're giving up on yourself, suddenly there's this spark and there's this energy for you to go and succeed and go grab that world championship. And it's not because the words cut you deep, it cut your ego. Because coming from a guy like me, someone that you've never looked at as anything more, and you just said in all the things that you just said there, you've never seen me as your equal. You've always seen me as underneath, haven't you?
You make it sound like I'm the one with the ego here, Will. Is it really me with the ego, or is it you with the ego? Because really, when you think about it, no, listen to this. When you really think about it, is it that you really wanted me to win out of the kindness of your heart, Will? Or did you know how much I was struggling on the inside? how much pain I deal with every single day of my life to be the wrestler that I am today. You wanted me at a weakened state because to you, beating me was easier than beating MJF.
It's bollocks. That's bollocks, and you know it is. I want you at your best. I want you at your most ruthless, because if I can't be that version of Kenny Omega, I don't deserve this. This is the biggest night of my life. Wembley Stadium, in front of my family, in front of my wife, in front of my mum, in front of my kid. This means so much more to me. It means so much to so many people. No Englishman ever has ever won a world championship on home soil. I have the chance. Me, the guy that blew every single responsibility that no one then knew how to handle that responsibility. Now it's being put onto me.
That's right.
That pressure. And like you said, well, every time I put in the pressure cooker, I crumble. I can't crumble now. I have to be better than you. I have to do it away from Don Callis. I have to do it away from the Death Riders. I have to do it by myself. And I know I can do it because it's been a 10-year chase. A 10-year chase to try and be just as good as you. And I'm not satisfied with that anymore. I'm not satisfied until I beat you. And I'm going to do it with honor. I'm going to do it with pride. And I'm going to do it when it matters the most.
The last time it mattered the most, Will, was 2023. At that time, too, you tried to do it on your own, and what happened, Will? You failed. You failed. Except this time, in front of your countrymen, in front of all your friends, all your family, you're gonna fail again. Except now, your mother at home is gonna be...
mention Mom.
Hey, whoa. Come on now. Look, hey, all I'm saying is there's a lot riding on this. Not just for you, but for me. And hey, win, lose, or draw, I still respect you, Will, and I still think that you're one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever laid my eyes upon. You bring magic out of me. And I know for a fact that even if you lose, your mom's still gonna be proud of you. What I worry about most, though, is that boy of yours might want a new hero after he sees me beat you. That's right. Hey.
Man, Kenny talking that shit.